Barrack Muluka and Senator Hassan Omar show up, you know this bench is on fire. And we're talking issues, tweets coming in so thick, so fast. Let me just read a couple, gentlemen. Listen to this. Ibrahim Adolwa says, ask Hassan, if Raila ain't the flag bearer, can he really settle for DP or even majority leader? Hold that thought. And then Rian Musili Samir says, ask Hassan Omar about the MOU between ODM and Wiper. What was that MOU? And of course, Mafleva says, Hassan Omar wants to take on Joho. I'm not touching that. This is a new high. Go on.
First and foremost, I think we're making it appear that Raila Odinga is a stranger to political bag. Raila Odinga is the same guy in 2002, to be precise, 14th, I think, October 2002, went to Uhuru Park and said Kibaki Tosha. That itself is a political compromise. So I think he's not a stranger to political compromise. He has made political compromises where he has been able then to play his role. And I believe the time when it is agreed by whatever mechanisms that were put in place that Raila will not be flag bearer, I can tell you he will play an extraordinary role from whatever position that.
Are you all hoping that? Are you hoping that he says Kalonzo Tosha or Weta Tosha?
You see, as a party, as Wiper, we are also a party that has ambition for power. Like every other party, we are not there to just warm the house. We are there to ensure that we are able to expand our quest. So if he says the Wiper candidate is Tosha, then for us as a party which has already taken a position, it simply validates
the party's position.
You see, that's the problem. That number one, they are actually operating on the basis of a number of myths. The first myth is that a person remains the same throughout. Our people say that you don't bathe in the same river twice. You know, even if you go to bathe there the following morning, it's a different river. It's not the same water that you bathed in twice. So Raila Odinga may have said in 2002 that Kibaki Tosha. We cannot count upon him to say the same that Kibaki Tosha or that Kalonzo Tosha or Omar Hassan Tosha or Wetangula Tosha. Because among other things, the common narrative today is that we are hearing that within the ODM fraternity particularly, they say that Raila has got one last bullet, and that one last bullet must be fired in 2017. What we have not been told is whether he also has a gun. Because if you have one last bullet and you don't have a gun, you may not be able to fire. In fact, the fellow with the stone is better than you are, because he might throw the stone. You cannot do anything with your bullet.
Right.
And you asked my brother, the senator here, a very sober question. Whether CORD can beat Jubilee, and whether they will beat Jubilee next year. I think, again, in politics, anything is possible. But it also depends on the dynamics. There's a hemorrhage of energy, hemorrhage of effort, a lot of wasted effort. And CORD is behaving in very many ways as a burst pipe, so that there's a lot of wastage of what should be flowing within that pipe. There is a lot of internal wrangling, mistrust, suspicion. At one point you find people who should know better posting things on Facebook and in other places on social media saying that we are ready for divorce. Basically telling the other people that you came here as squatters, and if you think that you do not want our candidate to be the flag bearer, you could also take a walk. Then there's the opening up of too many war fronts. You have opened up a war front with the World Bank, with the IMF, with the African Union, with the National Security Intelligence Services, with other parties within the country and beyond. Now, that is a wastage of energy. You have got only 24 hours on each day. And within those 24 hours, you can do only so much. Whenever you come back home, what are you doing? You're creating apathy within the ranks of your own followers. You are telling them that these fellows, IBC, they are going to steal the election for Jubilee that our election keeps on being stolen. What makes you think that people who already believe that the election is lost are going to register and to turn out to vote?
Let me tell Barrack, I can confirm that the gun does exist.
The gun is wiper.
Is it his last shot? Is it his last shot?
I think there's a general view that after 2017,
Yes.
there will be such enormous change in terms of the political dynamics, ushering in of new actors in the political scene, that it might be untenable for Raila to stretch it beyond that point. And I think that's high wisdom. But secondly, I can tell you, the opposition sometimes is duty bound to be able to speak to all these issues as they affect the country. You cannot say that it is too much for us to chew. If the problem is with the World Bank, you tell them. If the problem is with the CBK, you have to tell them. If the problem is with the National Intelligence Services, you have to tell them. And I think this opposition has such a litany. Our tyranny is the competence this opposition has. Every who's who. If you were to list and tell me some of the most illustrious names in terms of the politics of this country, you will find them within our divide. So I think whatever we have decided to take on is well within our capacity and competence. And I think we do extraordinarily well, because we can't say that we're going to sacrifice certain war fronts because we are trying to win the 2017. In fact, the 2017 will not come with a country for us to govern if we allow the dilapidation of the economy, the pillage or the pilferage across the board, if we allow the disintegration of the social order, the impervious ethnicity that we see, then what then are you going to be governing in 2017?
Quick question to answer that Twitter question there about the MOU. Does the MOU exist?
I've repeated it as Secretary General of WIPO. I have said the MOU did exist as an addendum. It was a precondition to Kalonzo Musyoka getting into the MOU, that is before the depository of the Register of Political Parties, that Raila Odinga was going to be a one-term president. So I think there are those who say that you need to interpret the MOU in letter, meaning that the presidency was not achieved. Others who say that it needs to be interpreted in spirit, because the spirit of that MOU was that every person was just to get one go at the presidency, so that then the other three principals cannot commit themselves to a collective of combined 30 years, like what Jubilee has said. And we're in a country where ethnic mobilization is an emotive issue, and ethnic competition is based, political competition is based on ethnic. It will be too long a wait to tell the Luya nation to wait for 20 years before we can give Wetangula. So even in the event that Kalonzo Musyoka or whoever person is going to become a co-presidential candidate, the position of the WIPO party is that any candidate will be a one-term president, so that then we're able to give other principals a go at the presidency.
So even if Kalonzo is the flag bearer, you'll only serve one term?
One term.
Come on.
One term. I have spoken personally to him, because you need to also reassure the Luya nation. You need to reassure the Coast Nation. You need to assure all these people who contribute to this coalition that we'll have some form of a rotation until we stabilize the country, where now people can say that merit is what defines the level, the leadership of this country. But in the form that the coalitions we are putting together brings certain ethnic and regional interests that then you cannot, like today code says, everybody who looks at Jubilee says this is a closed shop for the next 20 years.
Barrack, Kalonzo was in government for what, maybe 20, 22 years?
28.
Thank you, 28 years. For him to be flag bearer and then one-term president, come on, man, who are you kidding?
My good brother here comes from the coast, where they have taught us a lot of Kiswahili. And now I'm reminded of the saying that chovya asali hachovi mara moja. Yeah,
it's President Kibaki.
It's good saying all that when you are still outside. But once you get inside and you have had a taste of it,
the honey,
you find it's very sweet. And in a country where we have got this penchant for disowning MOUs, once you get there, the hubris. This is the hubris of power that comes with the power and the comfort of being in state office and in the highest in that context. You find people starting to say we don't know about MOUs. And you have heard even now, first they said there was no MOU, then they said there was an MOU, but Wetangula was not there. He came on board as a visitor, as a wanderer. Okay, then you will hear, you even heard about Davadi. There was an MOU in 2013, then suddenly there was no MOU, it was Mashetani. So you cannot take anything that we call an MOU in this country seriously. It's good language to use when you are looking for the numbers, particularly the ethnic numbers.
But Barrack, because of the very reasons, it's not going to be a carte blanche. I think as we move there, we have, as I told you, a litany of good lawyers: James Orengo, Amos Wako, you name them. My young brother Mutula Kilonzo is an emerging, force in his own right. It's going to be a question of putting the necessary caveats. And yet, if we appoint you, we can then disappoint you. So we can also put measures in terms of how we've seen this happening in part, like when I think in Nigeria.
Yes.
When somebody, is it good luck or someone wanted to vitiate a certain, agreement,
yes,
then people rally against you. So I think there's a way in which these things can be made. You see, even when we vote,
when he shouldn't have run.
But these things can be, in fact, if we are saying it, these are things that are going to be in public. Yes, these are things that are going to be in public domain.
Where's Jonathan today?
Yeah, it's gone. So I think sometimes you cannot renege on the force of
he should
people
not have run. When Yardua died, actually, somebody from the north was expected to run.
That unwritten rule of a Muslim Christian,
but it was betrayed. And here in Kenya, in fact, one of the reasons we have all these challenges that we face today in this country was the renegation from the MOU by Mwai Kibaki and the fellows around him. People who then started telling the LDP people that, all that was good for the campaign. They were even talking about balancing liver and stuff like that. And they were telling Raila Odinga that you did a good thing to say Kibaki Tosha, you got him to be elected as president. Now it is for us to make sure that he sits in that seat firmly for this term and the next term. And if anybody thought that there was going to be a co-sharing of power within this government and presidency,
I was in Kibaki's residence the time when he had just been declared president-elect, and unfortunately on his crutches. So he gave a statement acknowledging, appreciating what the Kenyan people did. And when he was told, are you going to be a one-term president? He said, where did I say that?
Where did I say that?
He said yes. But look, in Nigeria is also a fairly good example.
Yes.
In Nigeria, it's a fairly good example where even because of the mismanagement of the country, good luck Jonathan could not post a simplistic theory. They just vote for me because I'm Christian. And it's I'm up against Muhammadu Buhari, who's Muslim. Quite a number of Christian states, predominantly Christian states, also voted in large preponderance for Muhammadu Buhari because they wanted to secure the heart and soul of Nigeria.
Gentlemen, let me remind you, there's no African leader who's ever done that, what you say, one term, other than the late great Nelson Mandela. No other. Salva Kiir said it and then turned around and said, I want another term.
So that's not an accurate statement. You say no African leader. But I can tell you, others might want to follow in the path of greatness.
That's what you wish. That's what you wish.
Sometimes in life, you need to be fairly naive to believe. Because if you're always coming with this mindset that this is a crooked, kind of society. We came into politics, Barrack, to try also and change it. That's why some of us have struggled over the last 3 years to maintain a certain.
So you're an idealist. That's what you are. You're an idealist.
I come from a point of view where I believe in ideals and I believe in strategy.
If these things were possible, one of the things that the Code Fraternity would do today would be first to accept the role that Raila Odinga has played in this country. And I think it's a role that can never be downplayed. Absolutely. It can never be gainsaid. He has done a lot. He has sacrificed a lot. And he's a good captain who has done good work. And to use his own analogy, because he loves football very much, you can see that he's this captain who has led a team that has gotten into extra time, and it's a draw, goalless draw, and they have gotten to post-match penalties. And they have said the captain will take the first penalty kick. He's kicked the first one, it's gone out. And he has said, since I have not scored, I must take the second one. He's taken the second one. The goalkeeper has gotten grab of it. And they have said, no, it got in. If you look at this contest in 1997,
yes,
you can say he kicked the ball and it clearly went out.
Right.
In 2002, he kicked the ball, and according to his estimation and the estimation of his teammates, they scored. According to the estimation of the other side, they did not score.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was not quite clear.
There was no goal line technology then.
No goal line technology then. Then the third time,
yes,
he hit the goal post. Okay,
and it bounced out.
It bounced out. Then he's saying, I must take a fourth one, and maybe a fifth one.
But you see, you
must have some point.
Barrack.
Say within football, I'm not the one who usually says Omar, Hassan Omar na mpira anapatia Kalonzo, Kalonzo anapatia Wetangula, Wetangula anapatia Raila, Raila anapiga goal, Raila anapiga goal post. It comes back. Raila anapiga, it seems like it's scored, it's not scored.
Maybe Raila should have played
at that
rugby.
Point, and the biggest thing that they could do, I've been saying they need an earthquake in court. And the biggest earthquake that can happen in court, that can turn their fortunes, is for Raila Odinga to say now.
I've had this narrative. You know, sometimes I've had this narrative about Raila exiting. I had Raila himself, in his own estimation, saying, look at Bernie Sanders, for instance. Look at Hillary Clinton. They're almost at his age level, or age bracket. And Raila embodies and imbibes a certain value system and a certain, manifest, contribution to struggle. So I think you must also give him a fair chance within the litany of the court coalition, that if we should say that is our flag bearer, then all of us must leave and forcefully ensure that we campaign for him to the very end. Okay. So I've had these narratives about Raila shooting out, Raila being too, or Raila will never be president, or the only thing is about Raila saying Raila, somebody torture. I think it's a very simplistic theory in terms of how to look at the net opportunity of politics. Muhammadu Buhari had run 4 times and had been written off. So and finally at a similar circumstances, people thought he was the right person to
in which case they should stop troubling him. They should give him that space, because I've said that they are wasting a lot of energy. There's hemorrhage of energy. They're behaving like a burst pipe.
Right.
So in which case, if they have adequate faith in Raila Odinga,
rally behind him,
then they should rally behind him. They should give him the space. They're running out of runway, and very soon they will not be
Barrack is electing to miss the point. I'm saying Raila, like all the other 3 candidates, or the other 2 candidates, can, given the court ticket, can win the presidency.
Okay.
So what we are simply saying, all parties are positioning themselves to see whether they can take the flag bearer position.
Okay.
But as a coalition,
real quick, maybe Raila should have played rugby and drawn a drop goal like Collins Injera did against Argentina the other day. Drop goal, 40 meters out.
I think this sports analogy might not necessarily fit into this.
Oh, come on,
man. Listen, what's happening? There could be drop goals, there could be any goal, but the important thing is to score. And when we are saying that we are putting our strategies, this time around we are taking the presidency. We are taking leadership. We are going to transform this country.
These things that they are doing, if they stop fighting among themselves, if they focus on
voter, healthy competition for power,
on voter registration,
we are a democratic. We are a democratic coalition. We are not people who are starved out because somebody else is deciding for us.
If Bernie Sanders is Raila Odinga, who's Donald Trump?
Uhuru Kenyatta. Because I mean, you say we're talking about center left.
And then center right.
In fact, if you look at it from an ideological standpoint, Jubilee represents a center-right strategy. Look at it, if you are a person who goes to the dichotomy of strategy, you'll find it center-right. Okay. We pro-security, you use fascism
Fascism?
Yes, ethnic
No.
fascism.
No.
Ethnic fascism. You excite the passions of your
All right.
ethnic groups so that they can usher you into power and re-election.
Let's take a break.
I can tell you, I can.
Everybody in this country exerts the passions of the ethnic
Jeff
community.
Koinange live at the Villa Rosa can speak. Look at these guys. Look at these guys. You guys are enjoying this, huh?
So it's a great conversation.
Good. We're going to take a quick break. Come back. Talk the way forward. The way forward. The election is less than a year and a half away.
Center right, center left.
Bernie Sanders.
Center left. So we are social democrats. Trust me.
Okay.
They are utopian
I
capitalists.
don't
They are
believe that.
utopian
At
capitalists.
Barrack M.
believe that.
At
But
Hassan
I'm
Omar
the one
H.
saying, how are you
Jeff.
talking about my beliefs?
I'm supposed to believe.
I'm
Back in a moment.